wherever it is that you may be. We are here in Greeley, Colorado. For those of you that may not know, we're just in the middle of the United States. It is 3:30 p.m. where we're at, and we are scheduled to do a live chicken chat and Q&A every other Friday. So these are relatively new for those out there that are interested in chickens or have a lot of questions about chickens. We welcome you to join in here. Drop your comments, any questions in the comment box below so we know what to do, what to ask, where to go. I am going to share with you what we call the craft of chicken pimping, which means to make things better and change the status quo. So we have a community over on School. If you have not joined School, it's a great place to learn without feeling like you're actually back in school again. Fantastic area for anything you want to know. We are there to help folks make chickening better again. And most of that has to do with the way that we came into the chicken world. So the purpose of our school community is to teach folks how to easily raise backyard chickens so you can get fresh eggs every single day without spending a lot of time or a lot of money. Sounds pretty neat, yeah. But of course, we want to have fun doing it too, right? Now, let me just give you a quick overview of who I am. Some folks out there call me the Chicken Man, and I co founded a nonprofit chicken farm called Blooming Health Farms, which is a 501c3 that supports justice involved youth by teaching them agricultural entrepreneurship. We do that through what we do by selling eggs and organic chicken feed. And I've found my niche in helping folks out there become better chicken keepers, mostly by helping y'all get better eggs and controlling your feed costs. Now, how do I do that? Well, I specialize in sprouting out our feed. We call that hydroponic fodder, or I'll refer to it as simply sprouts. Now, I have a background in molecular biology. I graduated from the University of Hawaii, and I am attending Johns Hopkins University for a systems engineering. I bring over 13 years of hydroponics and water treatment experience to the table here. And I spend my free time volunteering with the Weld County ag people out there. I volunteer for the local extension office. And I also wrote a book called Thinking Outside the Soil, which helps farmers understand how we can use hydroponic fodder to save water, save land, get better quality feed for our livestock, and at the end of the day, become better stewards by taking different approaches to agriculture. Now, my book has been a bestseller in 3 different categories. We've got irrigation, we've got sustainable agriculture, and we've got tropical agriculture. So if you like reading or listening, check out Thinking Outside the Soil. It'll give you a overview of what it is that we do, and it also dive into the nitty gritty. Now, I'm going to share with you some things that people out there don't necessarily talk about. What I say may be a bit controversial because we do things a little bit differently. And a lot of that has to do with where I came from. Now, I used to be one of these kids that I help. I was an alcoholic. I got in a lot of trouble, and I was in and out of jail until I was 31 years old, from 17 to 31. Kind of shitty, yeah. I failed every job under the sun, everything from customer service jobs to highly technical white collar jobs because I couldn't put the bottle down. And I have more mug shots and I've worn more metal bracelets than we have toes and fingers. Um, Now, I started raising chickens with my dad years ago so I could get fresh eggs, but a lot of it was so that I could have something to do and stay sober. Now, those chickens, they stayed in my life. And later on, I developed this love for egg layers when I was helping an ex girlfriend raise some meat birds. And when that happened, I integrated chickens into our nonprofit mission because I accidentally went to Tractor Supply and got baby chickens. Now, how many out there accidentally do that? You go to the feed store, you hear the chirps, and you're like, oh, I need 2 chickens. And you walk out with 4 to 10 chicks. Well, it's a real thing. This is my first brooder. Now, when I got started doing things for Blooming Health Farms, I didn't really have a plan. And the goal of today is to unpack some of the big picture things that will help you become a better chicken keeper. If you've never ever had chickens, if you're new to chickens, and even for those of you who are chicken experts, if you will, there may be some things that you'll take away from what we've got here today. And if you've got any tidbits or tips, please do drop them in the comments below. Follow us on our Facebook, our YouTube, and our Twitter account, which we are streaming live through a few of those currently right now. Now, how does what I'm saying apply to you? Well, I believe anyone out there can take care of chickens in no time and always get great eggs. Now, it sounds pretty simple, but there's so many folks out there that just give up on chickening because they got into it with the wrong reasons or the wrong ideas. And I don't want you guys to spend a bunch of time or a bunch of energy doing this. And really, what I'm about to share with you is going to help you so you don't have to go to the feed store all the time. And the way we raise our chickens, we grow feed that gives us the best eggs you'll ever taste. And our customers just rave about the eggs. I mean, we get constantly from people online at the farmers market, Sean, you've got the best eggs in Greeley. And we're like, thank you. It's because of how we take care of our chickens and what we feed to our flock. Now, how are we doing this? In general, we like to use mobile chicken tractors. For folks out there that are new to chickens, I say the mobile chicken tractor is the way to go because they've got a roost, they've got a nesting area, and they're protected from predators so nothing can get in there and get your chickens. Now, we also use something what I call our Feed Your Flock framework, and I will unpack that a little bit later on. For those of you that are new, this is how we sprout out for our flock. And for those of you that have been chickening for a while, this is the simplest way to feed your chickens, and you can save more money than just going to the feed store and getting those old stale bags of feed from Tractor Supply. The big idea is feed your chickens the best feed that you can possibly get a hold of, and your chickens will be happy, they'll be healthy, they'll give you some of the best eggs, and you're going to have fun chickening because you've been setting yourself up for success. Now, folks out there are just taking care of what it is that they need to do. And because of where we've been, we created the Pimp Your Flock community over on School to help folks embrace this craft of chicken pimping so that we can make things better, make eggs great again, and just kind of go against that status quo of the corporate chickening world, if that makes sense. So today, what I want to share with you is what I like to call the art or the chicken pimp's art of chicken math. Now, chicken math, what is chicken math? Well, this is this real phenomenon. If you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube and you see folks out there getting a bunch of chickens, know that chicken math is both a joke and an actual thing. So what I'm going to do today is just cover the simple idea of chicken math. So let's take care of some chicken pimping for you and introduce you to our art of chicken pimps math, the art of chicken math, really, if you will. Now, what I'm going to cover today really simply is what's the ideal number of chickens for you or for anyone out there? How many chickens can you handle? How many chickens can your neighbor handle if you live in the city? That's going to be a real concern for you. And most people are like, all right, how do I keep track of these chickens once I get chickens? Like if you have a dog, you put a collar on a dog. If you've got a cat, you've got a collar or a tag on a cat. We microchip our furry friends. Well, with chickens, it's a little bit different. And I'm going to share with you some extra tips and tricks that I'll just fill in as we go along with this. So let's chat about why choosing the right number of chickens is going to help you plan your family meals. So the slideshow was supposed to break these down one by one. So we're going to go one by one slide. Forgive me for overloading you with all of this information on the screen. Now, chickens are social creatures. When I talk to people about getting chickens, I say you must get at least 2 chickens. And I generally recommend 3 chickens. And that's because chickens need a friend. They need a chicken friend. And if they don't have a friend, they will get stressed out. They will do a lot of weird things. And honestly, chickens don't do very well by themselves. We see more single chicken households lose a chicken than chickens with just 2 chickens. Now, the question that I get after that is typically, well, Sean, you say I need at least 2 chickens. Well, how many chickens should I get? Now, I generally start this out by saying, well, how many people live at your house? Is it just you? Is it you and a spouse? Do you have kids? Are you taking care of family members? It can vary. And I say, start with as many chickens as your family can eat. Now, more specifically, start with as many chickens as you guys can eat eggs. And the average person eats about 2 eggs when we sit down for a meal. So think about it in that way. We'll just say, for big picture, keeping it simple, chickens lay an egg a day. Okay. So we want to start thinking about that. Now, do you want to eat eggs every single day? Do you want to eat eggs every other day? Do you guys want to have a family breakfast on the weekend? So these are things that only you can actually start to answer. Now, the nice thing about chickens is that they do lay predictably. I said that chickens usually lay 1 egg a day, and I'll tell those that are new to chickening to choose chickens, certain breeds. Different chickens out there lay different number of eggs and different color of eggs. I know it's wild. If you've never had chickens, there's a lot that I've just shared with you. But the takeaway is that you can predict how many eggs you're going to get by the types of chickens. Now, there's folks out there that are interested in raising chickens because they want to eat them. And in the industry, we call those growers or we call those broilers. Many people also call them just simply meat birds. I will generally refer to them as meat birds or broilers. So for those of you that are new, I think meat birds is going to resonate the easiest. We can differentiate, tell the difference between chickens by saying egg layer and meat bird, if that makes sense. Now, the question would be, how many chickens do you want to eat in a season? And to think about that differently, 1 chicken is what we would consider an 8-piece. I'm sorry to refer to chickens as parts, but it's the easiest way at the moment to think about it. If you were to go to KFC or Popeyes or any fast food chicken place, they typically ask you how many pieces of chicken you want. So just to keep it above board, chickens have 2 legs, chickens have 2 wings, chickens have 2 thighs, and chickens have 2 breasts. Now, there's more to a chicken than that, but those are the major parts of the chicken that we eat. Now, for those of you out there that are interested in raising chickens for meat, we can talk in depth later on about that, but know that bird has so many other uses than just being an 8-piece at KFC. Now, how many chickens should you get? Great. Now, that's a good question. The better question, though, may be, how many chickens can you handle? And I want you to be able to manage however many chickens you get without running around like a chicken with its head cut off, which is a hilarious and a chaotic scene. Now, the question that I get generally is, Sean, how many are chickens easy to manage? Sorry, are chickens easy to manage? And I will generally give a blanket answer and say, yes, chickens are as easy as a cat. And for those of you that hate cats, they're as easy as a cat. I'm sorry that you don't like cats. I love cats. However, they are as easy as a gerbil or a hamster. If you set up your gerbil or a hamster cage with everything they need, you really don't have a lot of caretaking of that animal other than daily maintenance. Now, chickens are very, very similar. They are a little bit more involved, but you can handle plenty of chickens. And I recommend that you think about how many chickens do you want, and that will go hand in hand with how many chickens that you can actually manage. Now, a question that I generally get is how many chickens can I hold at a time? And that can get unpacked in a couple ways. Now, we can physically talk about like how many chickens can you hold? Well, most people have 2 arms, so we can hold 2 chickens. Or we can hug 3, 4 chickens, like if we hug them. So at some level, that is one way to think about how many chickens can you physically pick up and move at a time. Now, the other aspect of this is how big of a space you have, and we're going to unpack that a little later on, but I want to give you a quick overview of the art of chicken math. Now, the question that tends to get people more curious rather than how many chickens can I handle is how many chickens can my neighbor handle? Now, that's a very loaded question for those of you out there that have never had chickens. The concern comes because we live near other people. And I like to think that it's the best to consider others out there before we put chickens in our own backyard. Now, there's a caveat to this as well. Many neighborhoods or cities don't even allow you to have backyard chickens. So, this is that question that really only you can unpack if you live in an HOA or a city that can't handle chickens. Then the answer to this question is zero. Your neighbors actually can't handle any chickens. Now, I like to joke, regardless of how many they can handle, it might be worth it to open up that conversation and begin inviting them into your world and suggest to them that you're going to get a bunch of fresh eggs. They're better than you could ever get on the shelf, and you're going to give your neighbor free eggs from time to time. So I say, pay off your neighbor in farm fresh backyard eggs, and your neighbor can handle as many chickens as you can handle. So again, I said this actually all earlier, but questions that ask yourself: do you live in an HOA? How close are you to your neighbors? Are you in a suburban environment where you've got a little space, or are you very urban where people are right on top of each other? The other question to ask yourself is, are your neighbors friendly? If you have unfriendly neighbors, it may cause you to pause and think about what it is that you want to do, especially if you live in an HOA or a city that says they don't want chickens. Um, if you have unfriendly neighbors, it's going to get you in trouble, right? And the thing that I alluded to is, does your neighbor like eggs? And if they like eggs, well, then this is a simple question for you. Your neighbors can likely handle as many chickens as you can. Sound good? All right. Now, the other thing that I promised was, how do I keep track of all of my chickens? Now, what's really great about chickens is they are as different as our dogs and our cats. They have different markings, they have different personalities, they have different voices. So as you get to know your chickens, you will very easily say, oh, that red one is so and so, the white one is so and so, and the black and blue one is so and so. And yes, chickens do have a little bit of blue feathers. So you will be able to tell the individual chickens based on their obvious differences, if that makes sense. And if you have, more than a few dozen chickens, it can get a little bit of a handful to keep track of your chickens. So I'm going to share with you how we keep track of our chickens in our flock. And our flock will vary anywhere from 20 chickens to 300 chickens, depending on where we're at in the season. If we've transitioned from our hatching to our rental programs to our hatching programs. So I want to share with you this secret trick to counting chickens like a chicken pimp. Now, how to count chickens. So the easiest way to count chickens is go out there, and if you've got more than like you can count on your hand, then this is the trick that I want to share with you. the easiest thing to do is grab your cell phone and get all the chickens in one area and snap a photo of your chickens. And after you've snapped that photo, it's a still shot and you can go through and count the number of chickens. And I know that sounds pretty simple, and it is that simple. Now, many phones also have a markup feature on the picture, whether you have an iPhone or whether you have an Android or some other phone. If you've taken a picture, you can usually pull that picture up and mark it up with some kind of color. We like to use red, purple, or orange when we're marking it up because those are colors that they stand out on a picture, if that makes sense. So, forgive me, I had to sneeze, or that was a cough rather. So that is how we count chickens. And then, whenever it is that we need to do chicken checks or chicken counts, I'll have one of our youth workers out there, or myself, or even one of the caretakers snap a picture of the chickens. And this works great for folks out there that are raising, like I said, dozens and dozens and dozens of chickens. Now, another way to keep track of chickens is to create yourself a logbook. And a logbook can be something as simple as a piece of paper that you put their name on, when they arrived, and maybe when they were born. So the idea behind this is that you're likely going to go out and get chickens from a feed store. You can get baby chicks, or you're going to find somebody out there that's adopting out chickens that are already laying eggs. So what you'd want to do is write down on a piece of paper, in a notebook, somewhere out there, I got my chickens on this date. This is how many chickens I got. This is the approximate age for those of you that got chickens that are already laying eggs. That makes sense. And that's a very, very simple logbook. Now I'm going to show real quick with you another way that you can easily keep a log with chickens. Now, I am a nerd. I love to use spreadsheets. So how many of you out there have used spreadsheets? Okay. I'm sure many of us have, or we were made to in school or something like that. So this is a general spreadsheet, and I'm going to just start from scratch and real quick share with you how I would make a logbook. And so there's two ways that I would do this. I would start with this header row here. This row here is going to be where we're going to put that beginning information. So we'll put date. I like to start with dates. Name or chicken ID. Date arrived. Approx. Oops. Age. And it's really that simple. And you can format this if you want. If you want to do something pretty where you make it formatted, feel free to do that. Over time, you can do that. Now, you can put, at today, and it'll put today's date in there. You can put in, let's say you got your chicken on July 4th. You can put July 4th in there. So then let's say you got a chicken on July 4th. Oh, we're going to do one left. Number of chickens. So there we go. Because I said you shouldn't get just one chicken. Now, if you've already got a flock, you may be only adding one chicken at a time, which is totally fine. But if you don't have a flock, you're likely going to be getting 2 chickens. So I just realized what I did here. So we're going to change this. So ignore everything I just said, because I realized I had an aha in the moment here. We're going to do each chicken individually, line by line. And the reason that I thought about that is there's a few apps out there that actually will do that like that for you. And you can export this data into an app should you get into more chickening or something like that. But honestly, you can do all of this right from the Google Sheets app. Google Sheets is free. It is a free database, free spreadsheet tool. So if you haven't used Google Sheets, I urge you to look into it for more than just keeping track of your chickens. So let's say that we've got a chicken on July 4th. All right. We'll name it Frankie. So that's the name of our chicken. Her name's Frankie. She arrived on 7/4. We got her 7/3, the day before the fireworks. How about that? We'll just make stuff up. And she's approximately 1 year old. Okay. So Frankie came in, and then we'll just say, let's record another one on July 4th before we're getting ready to have fun with those fireworks. We realized we also got one named. Anybody out there got a name for me? No? We'll call her Scooby. How about that? Frankie and Scooby. Apparently, I want the E's on the end. And we got Frankie and Scooby at the same time, and they're about a year old, right? So that is the simplest way to start tracking chickens and keeping track of that. Now, what's really great is you can actually make another column here, and you can put a picture. And what's great about Google Sheets is you can, if you double click or right click, I'm using a tablet. So if you double click, you can see on here, you can do a lot with these actual cells, and you can come in here and put all kinds of different information in here. If you're not a spreadsheeter, don't worry about this. It looks like a lot, but quite honestly, what you do is you can just add a picture right here, and I'll show you. I'll grab a picture real quick to show you how simple that is. So we'll grab a chicken picture real quick. Didn't let me do it. I love when you're live on a video and your technology doesn't work the way you want it to, and you're in here like, oh yeah, it'll just do this, and then boom, doesn't do that. So okay, cool. So sometimes you just gotta do your best. All right. Well, gum on my face. Oh well. Well, so we'll go ahead and jump back over to this and call this the tools you should use to keep track of your chickens. Simple cell phone, piece of paper and pen, or even a spreadsheet if you're savvy enough to sit in there and type. And you can do all of it right here from your phone. So don't even worry about that. And to be honest with you, I'm going to do a new video where I'm sharing with folks, because on the Google Sheets app on the phone, I know you can actually do that, because that's how I actually do all of that. So now I want to share with you one other tool, if that's cool. We got a few minutes here. Another tool that I really love, and it's even better than Sheets. If you are a spreadsheet nerd out there, I'm curious if you've ever heard of Airtable. So Airtable is a glorified database where you can do significantly more than you would ever imagine on a spreadsheet. So this is our hatching and breeding log that I've got going on right here. And so you can see some of the chicks that we're hatching out. And then over here, you can actually add images of baby chickens or adult chickens. This is the app that I actually use. And so for those of you out there, you want to use something a little bit better that has the ability to interact with different programs, different softwares, or if you're already using Airtable, reach out to me and I'll just shoot you over this base right here. Actually, I'll create a new base just for you and shoot it over to you so you can just go ahead and put that out there like that. But for the most part, just real quick, since I'm in here, this is how I create a spreadsheet. So we have our chicks that have been hatching over the last month. Now I haven't updated this log for our June hatch, it looks like. So what I actually will do is I will put in specific chick IDs. You can see right here. Now these are just sequentially, and they have specific numbers to mean specific things. So for example, our R's are what we're breeding, and our HTCs are chickens that we rent out to folks. So we rent out an incubator and fertile eggs, and when people are done, they bring us our chickens back. So we know a lot of these chickens are of certain parents. So I am breeding chickens, and I am breeding a very specific chicken. So you're getting a glimpse into my Colorado Blue Egyptian breed. And clearly this is a good place for me to recognize that I've got to come back in here and fill this out. So back to how do you keep track of chickens? So the thing that I say is right now is ideally count your chickens before they hatch. And what I mean is go back and think of how many chickens do you want? How many chickens should you get? How many chickens might be right for you? And how many neighbors can, or how many chickens can your neighbors handle? So you can decide on your ideal number. Knowing the right number of chickens for your goals is basically going to allow you to be the chicken mom or chicken dad that you dream to be, and it will get you closer to those goals of food freedom, of food sovereignty, or even just not having to go to the grocery store to get some of those farm fresh eggs as well. So a quick checklist for those of you out there, please do take a screenshot of this, or if you're interested in getting this in a simple PDF format, just drop a comment below. DM me if you're on the other platforms. It'll be the easiest to send this. If you're on YouTube, shoot me an email at Sean, SEAN, at bloominghealthfarms.com. So BLOOMINGHEALTHFARMS.com. Sean at bloominghealthfarms.com. And I am more than happy to share the slide deck or link you into some of those resources that you may need. So with that, I want to bid you all adieu. And for those of you out there that are interested in getting chickens, again, chickens are some of the most amazing animals that you'll ever have the privilege or the opportunity to allow into your life. They're clean, they're intelligent, and they also give you an egg. So with that, I bid you adieu and thank you for joining me on the Chicken Pimp's Art of Chicken Math. If you're interested in knowing more, check out our school at pimpyourflock.com. That's pimpyourflock.com. Yes, just like it sounds. And that will take you over to our school community where you can join chicken peeps and chicken pimps who will help you become the best chicken person you could ever imagine. So thank you, take care, and have a lovely Friday.